Next up is Valerie Landau.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful to be here. So I worked with Doug Engelbart teaching a class of students at Cal State Monterey Bay for several years. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what he taught us about text. So some of the big ideas that he had, we saw actually here today demonstrated, so I'm thrilled. First of all, he felt like the number one thing that was important to have shared screens of text. And the other part that was fundamental to this was that the repositories of all the drafts was also something that was shared. Structured files, which we've just heard quite a bit about, with high levels of addressability, which we would now call like linking and embedding. Repositories with drafts and finished works. And he was very adamant about that the structure should be content-centric or document-centric, not tool-centric, which we also heard about in what you were talking about earlier about adding a layer. And then the last thing that he was really excited about, and we started to do some experimentation with in our class, was new symbolic systems and concatenation of ideas. And since it's the anniversary of the demo, I just couldn't resist adding this slide from Doug's presentation to my class about this issue of the future of text. And I'm just going to rush through it for those of you who, for nostalgia's sake. And so he really also was very insistent on structured documents, which we're seeing a lot of movement, and also multiple views of that document, so that text and multimedia should not only take one form, but could be easily moved around and viewed in different ways with embedded objects and links to objects. Here was his idea of multiple views. I think also collaborative work, shared screens, shared repositories. Am I not moving forward? Let's see. Rode, could you help me move this? Oh, it's going. Oh, okay. And so some of the things that he asked us to work on was color coding parts of speech. And one of our students did a prototype where he hooked up with the University of Michigan's language parser and color coded parts of speech, and we did testing on our students, including some of the students who had been in the first Gulf War and had suffered post-traumatic stress syndrome and had a lot of trouble focusing reading. And what we found was that every single student that we tested had higher comprehension and faster reading rates simply by color coding the parts of speech. The second thing that he was very excited about was concatenating ideas. So creating symbols of ideas of text and then putting those together, and so that you could click on and get more detail, close it, and see it as part of this structured file. And also for the input of text, the corded key set. And I think these were some of the big ideas that he communicated over and over. We did this for, I think, 5 or 6 semesters of the things that he would like to see done in text. And that's it. Any questions on that?
Hi, Valerie. Can you give us an example of concatenating ideas that makes, so it could make more sense?
Yes, concatenating ideas. So what he saw was you would have a paragraph of text, say explaining any topic, and then you could make that into an icon or a shape, and then put that together with another idea. So we have paragraphs as linear, but he was saying that you could make them as nonlinear chunks of ideas and put them together in 3-dimensional models. And if you want to know where you can read more about this, his 1962 paper. He talks about the concatenation and 3D models. And so he really saw this as that ideas could be moved around as as symbols, and then you could click on them and they could open up and you could get the full text.
Everybody's read the 62 paper, right?
I know, and it
Yes, I have a couple questions about the color coding.
Yeah.
So just to clarify, when you talk about the soldiers with PTSD, you're talking about them reading text that has been color coded, or you're talking about them doing the color coding?
No, about them reading text that was color coded. So we had a student who built a prototype that you could paste in any text, and it would color code everything as parts of speech.
Automatically. That's the computer. Oh,
The
okay.
computer could just do it, and this was an third year undergraduate as a class project.
And is that is there an example of that? I would love to just look at a paragraph that's coded that way. Is there an easy place to find examples of this?
No, not that I know of. I'm sure there is. If you Google it, I'm sure somebody's done it. But I'm shocked, really, that it hasn't been commercialized, and I'd be happy to work with anybody who wants to try and build that app, because we have the experience of a prototype, but that was a one-semester project of an undergraduate.
Valerie, can I ask you, what was the logic for this type of text color coding? Because you talked about several. How did you choose what the color of the words were?
You know, this was just, he randomly assigned the colors. So obviously this is something would need a lot more.
What would the categories be?
Oh, the categories were just like nouns, verbs, pronouns, adjectives.
Because we also did a test where it was by category, like human system tools, different colors you could do. The opportunities are just vast for that.
The opportunities are vast, and I mean, I just tipped the iceberg. I was just putting it out here for people to remember and work on. I think it's a powerful idea that has been underdeveloped.
Hi, Valerie.
Hi, Bob.
I think that the concatenation idea is a really important one, and it falls under, in artificial intelligence, the summarizing problem, or also what I call the developing the headline for the paragraph. And I wonder if there was any progress made by Doug since 1962 on that I can read, because I learned from him.
No, he was really asking us to do the experiment. He's like, well, I came up with the idea, now you develop it. I do not. But I would be happy to share with you all that I know about it.
Betsy, why don't you give the URL? Okay. She'll send.
The sharing thing.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention, talking of sharing things, we do have a Google Drive that we'll be using for tomorrow's session. Whether you can be there or not, you can have the URL. So whatever you want to put, we have one single place for it. So.
Valerie, one more question for you. I know that a little while ago you were trying to commercialize the last piece of cool technology that Doug hadn't been able to successfully commercialize. Where are you on the corded key set?
I was completely unable to commercialize the corded key set in any way, but I think that it's something that should be developed by someone, and there's so much research behind it, and I think that the world still needs it, particularly now with mobile computing, because you can type without having to look. So I think now is the time for the corded key set to reemerge.
Valerie, you yourself have taken Doug's work and applied it in learning in Samuel Merritt University with amazing results that have caused you to be invited to be part of the Western Accreditation group. So I'd like you to actually just say a couple of things about that.
Well, I think one of the parts of Doug's work that I was able to develop was a dynamic repository of sorts, where we were able to color code and use space and sound and music to look at the entire curriculum for the entire school, so we could align learning outcomes at the course level, at the degree program, and at the institutional level, and link that with actual evidence of student learning. And so what happens is curriculum that traditionally had been sort of the silo of the professor now becomes transparent to the whole community, and we can start to assess student learning, authentic student learning, not just testing, against our stated learning outcomes. And it's really led to a cultural change, and we've have a very engaged faculty with over 1/3 of our faculty engaging in the scholarship of teaching and learning and reflecting on their own practice of teaching in addition to their scholarship in their area of science. So it's had a profound effect of really creating a mirror for our whole community, and you can also drill down and get very granular. Any other questions? And just want to let everyone know I'm happy to collaborate and share on any of the things that you're working on. I was very impressed with all the work today.
One note for Valerie, since she's not going to pitch it, Valerie is one of the co-authors of the Engelbart hypothesis. So I want to just let you know that that book about Doug and his work, along with Eileen Clegg, is available online. Please look for it.
Okay, so that.
I will brag 1 second. Also,
You do. Let's check.
We just talked about publishing the Engelbart mural that Eileen Clegg and I did with Doug. That was a 40-foot mural sort of documenting the main ideas of Engelbart's contributions.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Adriano Ferrari.